BRRRR Explained, and this is the refinance part, and this is how I'm making BRRRR work for me this year. So feel free to steal my guide, and this is for financial freedom. And guys, this is part of my 4-step series. There's 5 videos included in the whole of this series. You can go back and watch the other videos because then it just sets you up for this one. Let's get into it. So we've looked at BRRRR as a whole, and we've also looked at the buy portion of the strategy, and we've also looked at the refurbishment part of the strategy. So today's video is going to be on the refinance part of this particular property strategy. So as we've already discussed, you probably by now you would have found your perfect property for your investments, hopefully found it below market value and got a great deal on it, done your refurbishment, and now you're ready to go for that refinance part. So this video is just going to sum up everything what I've learned, my experience from doing it in the past. Yeah, so now it is time to refinance, and in a future video what I'm going to be going through with you is the rent portion. So that will be going over actually getting a lovely tenant in your property so that it is generating an income on a monthly basis for you. But yeah, this bit is literally where the magic happens. This is literally where you pull out all of the value that you've added through your refurbishment or whatever method you've put in place for you to add value, and then this is going to give you deposit back, so you're going to recycle your deposit so that you can then go again. So we'll effectively rinse and repeat the process so that we build up a lovely strong portfolio in the future. Yeah, so what does refinancing and remortgaging actually mean? This is literally where you actually go onto a completely new mortgage loan, and you're doing this for a set specific reason, whether it's to get better terms, whether it's to get better rates, and in our case as investors it's going to be so that we can do a combination of almost all of those things, but the main thing is to get that end value and the profit that we've built up within this and get that out of the property. So literally what that means for us as investors is that we're actually replacing that initial funding with a new buy-to-let funding that we're going to be sourcing via our mortgage advisor. So for example, we'll be going off the initial purchasing funding, whether it be bridge loan, whether it's a cash buy, and then we're actually going on to a proper buy-to-let mortgage term. And in my case, this is what I've done in the past, the properties that I've shown on this channel. So with the initial flat that I showed you before, if you look on the playlists that are already on the channel, this was all part of a bridge to let process. So it's essentially the same thing. I've purchased a property by using a bridge to let. So it's a 2-stage mortgage funding, and it's literally just the same thing as what we're doing here. I've purchased it using a bridge loan, and then it's gone on to the second step, which is the mortgage term. So as I said, I've purchased it with the bridge loan, and then it's gone on to the second step, which is the mortgage loan. And the only difference with doing a bridge to let is that both steps are all combined and it's through the same lender. And in my case, I used Precise Mortgages, so I had that certainty from the outset. And again, that's all detailed on the actual project playlist for that flat. So if you go back, you can have a look at that and that'll give you more details. And after we go through this mortgage funding, the actual aim of this is to pay off the initial, obviously if you've purchased it via that way, it's to pay off the initial bridge loan or the initial funding and replace that with a new mortgage. And so that we know when we're first setting out what our facts and figures and our numbers are, so that we've actually factored in the time to do the renovation and we're doing it fast and quick enough. So because obviously the bridge loan payment each month can be quite a lot. That's if you are paying the monthly, if you've serviced the loan. Sometimes it's due at the end of the loan. That's the one that I've done at the minute, is actually due at the end of the loan. But the main thing is the interest on a bridge loan is quite high. So we want to make sure that we've done our renovation to a really good scale, but we've done it in a fast enough time so that we get off the high interest payments from the bridge loan and go on to the lower ones from a new mortgage. And the quicker we do this means the less interest we're paying, and it's more profit and more money in our back pocket. And then that leads me nicely onto my next point. So we're actually considering remortgaging so that we can, again, as I've already said, is to get a lower rate and lower monthly payments, as well as getting the value out. It's also to actually readjust that mortgage duration, the mortgage term. So, but for us as investors, what we're focusing on is we're remortgaging so that we can get the value out of the property that we've built up through this refurbishment. And as I said, you can get help from your mortgage advisor. My mortgage advisor's details are in the description box below. She's always welcome for anyone asking her any questions and literally just getting in touch with her. So that's down there in the description box for you if you want to speak to her. So when we're actually refinancing as well, we're actually looking at personal finances and making sure again that those are in check. I have videos on here already on what I've done to improve my credit rating so that I can get the best rates available, because again, this is something that your mortgage advisor is going to be looking at. But also, if you are looking at your personal finances and things like that, yeah, non-biased are really, really great. They're literally like a dating app but for your finances, so it's brilliant to go if you go on there. As I said, the link is in the description box below. It is a commissioned link, just so you know, so I will make a small commission if you do sign up. Thanks, guys. But yeah, the brilliant thing about them is it's all based on your personal circumstances, and they will literally match you up with a financial advisor or a product that is best for you, but based on your personal circumstances. And they have been kind enough to say if you do sign up, you will get your first month free, so you've got nothing to lose. Thanks. Yeah, so if you do this, I mean, the only downside is at the minute, the market, it was kind of a little bit stable, but for me, I'm finding that it's still a little bit going up and down, but it's a hell of a lot better than it was. So yeah, just make sure you keep an eye on market conditions. This is why, guys, I always say do your research, make sure you look into everything and make sure you know the ins and outs of everything before you actually make any type of financial decision. But yeah, that is probably only going to be the main sort of disadvantages. Obviously, if the market conditions are really, really uncertain right now, we just don't know what's happening, whether it's up or down. But it seems to me, like I've said earlier, it's starting to get a little bit more stable. But as long as you've assessed your deal from start to finish, you should have factored everything into your property deal from the very start anyway, so you should be prepared for this and prepared for certain events. Obviously, you can only prepare so much, and if you are wondering or you want any details on any of the other stuff, as I said, I've got loads of videos and playlists on here, and my name's Sabrina as well, literally documenting the whole of my property journey here on YouTube. I'm showing you my ups, my downs, everything, any mistakes that I've made so that you don't have to. So if you do like that type of content, please think about subscribing. But yeah, I've got loads of real life examples on my videos that are on the channel already that you can check out. But as well, just be careful of making too many hard applications as well, because this will affect you, because it will go onto your credit file and that could backfire on you later on. So obviously you need to make sure that you protect your credit file and everything. So discuss this with your mortgage advisor before you're going through any application, just so you're clear on what's going to happen. And then this leads me on to my next point, is your credit file. You really, really need to protect that if you are looking to use mortgage funding as a way to progress your property file moving forward. You need to make sure that you keep any credit searches or any hard multiple applications to a minimum, so that when you do go for that remortgage, your credit file is as good as it can be. Make sure that you're not missing payments, and make sure that you're also not missing any payments as well, because that can affect you when you're actually going for these remortgage deals as well, because it will show up again on your credit file. And as well as with any sort of funding as well, with the mortgage applications, there are certain fees that are on there as well. They can be quite high, but again, you can discuss this with your mortgage advisor. She'll go through everything with you, just to make sure you're aware of what you're doing and what the fees are and how it's going to be applied to the mortgage, whether it's applied to the mortgage term or whether it's not. Just be aware with that when you're going for these type of fundings, those high fees that the lenders can charge. All the other good stuff as well, solicitors fees, valuation fees and everything like that, which can mount up and it can be quite high. And also make sure you discuss all of your priorities with your mortgage advisor as well when they are looking for these deals for you to go out and remortgage on. Are you wanting to get as low monthly payments as possible, which probably everybody is, one of my goals as well when I go to remortgage. You do want a shorter mortgage term, better interest rates, all things like this. You'll discuss this with your mortgage advisor before they're going out to go find these deals, and they'll just detail that in a nice lovely report for you as well. Again, everything always goes back to the start. You'd have done your initial research and worked that into the deal at the beginning, so that you kind of know, and you know what you're aiming for, you know what kind of profit or equity you want to be building up when you're adding this value to the property at the beginning. So just make sure that you're that you're checking your figures, and that whilst you're going through every part from buy-in through the renovation and you get to this point, you're still expected to get that equity that you're wanting to have at the end. Obviously, obviously valuers are a law unto themselves at the minute. I'm feeling like they're down valuing quite a lot at the minute, but that's just so that the down values was because the market was so uncertain. But yeah, just make sure that you've got your figures and you know what equity that you're planning on pulling out of the property and out of the property deal at that time. And just make sure that aligns with the valuer's estimate as well. So there's a lot of checks to sort of go through. And again, nothing is guaranteed. What we want to do is plan and mitigate and build up so to a point where we're getting around that. There's no surprises when the valuer goes out and comes back. So whatever equity that you've sort of built up in there, you're going to then, once you've remortgaged, that's going to be used to pay, as I said, to pay off the initial bridge loan and then leave you with profit at the end of it. That's if you've purchased through a bridge. So you'll get that lovely redemption figure. This will all be worked out through with your solicitor so that you know if you have done things like how I have done things and how things were done with the flat that I did. So there was the redemption figure to pay, which is the figure and amount left outstanding on the bridge loan, and then that new buy-to-let mortgage pays all of that off, and then, as I said, you're left with a profit at the end. And that's also once everyone's had all their fees, all of that has been paid off. And again, what I like about going through my mortgage advisor is that she's working with these different lenders day in and day out, and depending on what your needs are and what your initial discussions are, she's going to come back with quotes or lenders that are going to be a suitable fit for you based on the property, based on your circumstances, and based on what you're wanting as well. So this is why I really, really like going with a mortgage advisor, because you're not just putting your finger in the wind, and it's not just a case of looking at and going with the first quote that you sort of stumble across. It's quite good going to them because they have a wide breadth over the whole of, over lenders that are all over the market, so that you really are testing the market. And if you've got a good mortgage advisor, they're getting you the best deal that's based on your circumstances for you. And that's sort of without you having to do a lot of the running around work, without you submitting a load of applications to different people. So when you initially go for this, your mortgage advisor, when you've got the offer that you want to go for, your mortgage advisor will package it all up together, get all of your documents ready. So whether it's your 3 months bank statements, whether it's your 3 months business banking statements, your pay slips, or your business statements and your business information, financial information, they will collate that and put that all together and put in a submission for you. And this is after you would have probably got an illustration from them. So they would have put all the information together, and based whether you're happy for that quote or that offer on that illustration, if you're happy, she'll then collate all that information together and then submit that for you. You'll then get solicitors quotes and things like that as well. So yeah, my mortgage advisor also helps me out sometimes with solicitors quotes as well. I've got a couple of solicitors that I also work with here. Once you've accepted the offer, the application's gone in. So once you've put in for that initial, you've got that initial decision in principle back, and then you've put in for your application and all things like that, that's when you'll start to get your solicitor. You'll be looking at getting solicitors. So you'll get your quotes back, decide which solicitor you want to go with, and then whoever you've gone with, you can instruct those to go ahead so that you can then start the conveyancing process. Can start with the solicitor, they can start talking to the lender's solicitor, and then that just kicks off the whole remortgaging process. I've got a few slight differences with when I go for mortgage funding, or whether it be remortgage or that initial bridge loan. Because I'm actually purchasing in a company name, I have to jump through a load of other hoops. So I can do a separate video on purchasing in a company name as well, because I find it quite confusing at first, because you almost have to speak about yourself in the third person. So your company is the third person and you are almost borrowing or you're lending to your company, and vice versa. You've got to think of yourself as two separate entities, almost like you're talking about yourself in the third person. So yeah, I'll do pop company name in the comments below if you want me to do a separate video on that. But yeah, once that's gone in, and obviously you've now got your solicitors involved, you've also then there's the valuation process, which again I've got videos on, and how to improve and make sure that you get that top valuation. Check out the playlist below. So that valuation will, once they've come back, and the valuer will tell you how much they think it's worth, so that the company can obviously lend against the property, so that it's a secure, solid investment for the lender as well as yourself. So they're just assessing that, and as long as everything's all okay with that, and that's happy, they're happy, you're happy, you know how much money you are going to be pulling out of the property, you know how much you're going to be left with, then the whole process will just continue to sort of go through. Each solicitor from each side, from the lender's side, from your side, will continue to talk to each other and go through that whole conveyancing process. you'll probably have to import. There might be questions back and forth and a couple of queries come back through to you that you'll have to then send back to your solicitor, and then that they sort of talk to each other, and then it goes back and forth until it's actually complete. And again, with purchasing in a company name, you'll also have to do your separate independent legal advice as well. That'll be done by a separate solicitor to make sure that you're entering into legal financial agreement of sound mind. So they do that as well, so that it covers themselves, so that as if you are purchasing in a company name, that is, if anything happens, it still ties you in. So you have to act as a personal guarantor to your company as well. So it all ties you in. So if anything goes wrong, they literally can come after you and it covers them. So obviously before, I think if it dissolves and it goes under, you can just ride off into the sunset. But what mortgage lenders will do, they will tie you into it personally by saying that you have to personally guarantee this loan, and you have to go through independent legal advice so that you understand that that's what you're doing and that's what you are entering into. So it is not a light-hearted process. It is a very serious thing that you are entering into. So you need to make sure that you know everything in and out. And this is why I say, if you talk to either a financial advisor, you can use Unbiased. Again, the link's in the description box. And you can also speak to my mortgage advisor. They can give you some advice as well. So then you'll literally sign your life away. You'll sign all the legal documents and everything. Again, you are signing for your company. There'll be a witness involved as well on some of the documents that you'll need to have on hand to make sure that that is you. Again, also you need to have made sure that you've given certified ID, certified proof of address and all stuff like that. I've gone over this in other videos. It's just someone will have to write a sentence saying, I certify that this is the likeness of you, and something along those lines. And for your photo ID, and it'll be the similar type of thing for your proof of address. And then obviously then your solicitor's fees and whatever fees will come off the end amount. And then finally you'll get all your papers to say that you've completed and everything like that, and your final figure that you're going to get paid out to you. Yes. And then normally solicitors will pay it through, I think, either BACS or some sort of bank transfer, and it will just drop through automatically into your bank account, your business banking. And then once you've done that, you've got through it all, you've answered all the questions, you've got back to the solicitor, you've fought through the valuation, all stuff like that. And when you see that it's all gone through, it is such a relief that it is finally happened. You've got your money through, you've got off the bridge loan, and you're officially onto the buy-to-let. It is, as I said, it is such a great feeling. It's like the world has just come off your shoulders. But and then it's all done and complete. So guys, it is a long process. It's a lengthy process, especially here in the UK. It takes a while because everything's got to go through everybody. It's going back and forth through the solicitors. It's a valuation process, and it is a very stressful time. And it does take a lot from you when you are actually going through the process. But once it's done, you'll forget about it and you'll be so happy. But if you've got any other questions that you want to ask, just pop those in the description box below or send me an email. I'll be happy to answer them for you. And I'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.